What's up, y'all? Phil James. It is September 9th, and it's 3:49 in the morning, and Saturday morning, in case you was wondering. So, I stumbled across this story today. It's Associated Press. I don't really F with this, but, it's an exclusive, so Miami homeless removed against their will. Now I'll show you a couple pictures. So a psychiatrist and all these people go rolling in through Miami looking for the homeless. Okay, so Miami police join hands with social workers to evacuate some of the more than 1,000 homeless people in the city. Although most homeless residents comply, others have to be detained involuntarily. Now, there was a video on this page on my computer, but for some reason I cannot get my OBS to work properly, so I cannot record or stream from my computer, and I'm not entirely sure why, and it's pissing me off, so I apologize. But basically, it shows them, it shows the social workers and this dude talking about how they're doing it. There's something called the Baker Act, and it's a law there, and it's the police can detain someone they consider mentally unstable, somebody they think could be a danger to themselves or anybody else. So they're saying that all these homeless people that are not trying to evacuate are a danger to themselves by staying in Miami. Well, where are they going to go? So they detain them and hold them for 72 hours. Now let's assume, in the worst case scenario, they're being held in these jails. Well, all of Florida, is in a hurricane warning right now because Irma is bigger than the state itself. So what happens when these 20-foot storm surges go rushing up into the police stations? They're stuck in a cell. I mean, obviously, I think they would move them eventually because they're only being detained, not, arrested anyways. But the point still is, though, it becomes much more difficult, I feel. I try not to be on the fence, but I also get why they want to detain these people. They assume it's probably going to be something like Katrina or something like that, people start looting, homeless people start breaking into houses. It's my guess. They're worried about that. And I guess they could be genuinely worried about the lives of the homeless people. But here you go. On what is likely the last clear day in Florida before Hurricane Irma's monster wind and rain, social workers and police officers are giving Miami's estimated 1,100 homeless people a stark choice. Come willingly to a storm shelter or be held against their will for a mental health evaluation. Okay, so a storm shelter. But it said detained, so that also means they could be taken to a police station and held. Okay, with the outer edge of the storm approaching Friday, these officials, backed by a psychiatrist and observed by an Associated Press team, rolled through chillingly empty downtown streets as dawn broke over Biscayne Bay, searching for reluctant stragglers sleeping in waterfront parks. We're going out, and every single homeless person who is unwilling to come off the street, we are likely going to involuntarily Baker Act them, said Ron Book, chairman of the Miami-Dade Homeless Trust, invoking the Baker Act, a law that enables authorities to institutionalize patients who present a danger to themselves or others. It is not something law enforcement does lightly, but officers detained at least 6 people by Friday afternoon. Under the law, they can be held up to 72 hours before the state would have to go to court to prolong their detention. So, by then, Irma's howling winds and terrifying storm surge should be somewhere north of the city. Should be. But if it's anything like Harvey, we know what happened then. So let's say that Harvey, just like Harvey, Irma hits the South Point right there, and the eye goes right over the Keys and then right up over the southernest point of Florida. Let's just say that happens. And it stops for 5, 6, 7 days, and sits there until it slowly decreases in strength and becomes a tropical depression, and then eventually, wears out enough to where it's not much of a hurricane anymore. Let's say that happens. What do they do then? They just let these people back out because it's the law. They just push them out on their ass like, okay, sorry, we didn't know it was going to stay here. Your 72 hours is up. My guess is they're not even really going to get a choice. And if you've seen any of this footage of Irma, you can't see. It's that bad, So, what then? So I'm kind of against this, Homeless people, they're people, and I have no problem. I feel that, vacant houses outnumber homeless. What is it? Vacant houses, it's like 3-1. So, yeah, I believe that we should just let them stay in foreclosed houses, worst case scenario. But we would never do that, so doesn't really matter what I think. But I don't think this is right, because after the 72 hours, regardless of the weather, they have to let them go. So they're going to let them go right into the middle of the hurricane. But on another note, this could be something totally different. Now, if this follows suit with Harvey, and FEMA's already down there, the National Guard's already down there, and everything else, let's say, Utah, this kind of happened also, where all the homeless people just started coming up missing, and nobody really knew where they were going. You guys remember that a few years back? Not sure what happened. It wouldn't matter if we had a guess anyways, because they're going to tell us something different, and we'll never get the truth unless we find out ourselves. But, for what we know, these homeless people could be getting detained and taken to FEMA camps. Straight up, who knows? Who knows? They could just be helping. It's hard to tell at this point. But I just wanted to go ahead and talk about this because they're using this. They've already picked up quite a few of these people. 660,000 people were under mandatory evacuation orders. Or 660,000, I'm sorry. God, it's late. Well, it's early, technically. I've just been up the whole time. I don't sleep very well. So, yeah, I just wanted to cover this real quick. Like I said, they had to handcuff and detain a few of these homeless people. But, I get where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to go to a camp, you don't want to go to a shelter, you don't want to go. You know what I mean? So, since when is it cool for the government to make the choice for you, or law enforcement? You know what I'm saying? So I totally see why these people aren't too happy about it. All right. Just to keep everything up to date, we have Irma slowly making her way right up to the southern point of Florida. I'll tell you what, man, she is a mean bitch. Just from what I've seen, and what all of you have probably seen, it's looking pretty gnarly. Okay, so I hate the way this app looks on my phone. It looks so terrible. So I apologize, not much space, but it's the only way I can do it, because like I said, my OBS is all screwed up, and I'm not quite sure how to fix it. Okay, so this is about right now. Yeah, it is now. And as you can tell, Irma making her way up. The thing I want to say, though, is, we're all stressing about Irma, and I feel that the government downplays these things. Like, they make Irma seem like it's nowhere near as bad as what it might actually be, and it ends up being worse. So more people end up dying because they thought, they might be just fine and be capable of riding it out. And then we have Jose follow up. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. I'm not, I don't like going off news, but it's hard to get coverage on something like this when you're nowhere near, and all the streams and all the footage coming out is relatively the exact same, because it's all from the exact same sources. So basically, we're all left up to a guessing game, and I don't think I have any subscribers in Florida, or else I would ask, for video footage and whatnot. I know I do have one, one in one of the Carolinas. So if it makes it up that far, yes, I should be able to get some video footage. But yeah, I just wanted to keep everybody up to date on this. So if you have not heard, Jose has now strengthened to a Cat 4. So now we have a Cat 4 following up on the massive, massive, massive Cat 5. And as you can tell, this is a pretty big storm also. A very big storm. So, I mean, there's your model for it. Not really hitting anything too crazy, but it's a lot wider than just that cone right there. So, I mean, there's a chance that, other areas could get some of the effects. This might be the same thing. Yeah, same thing, sorry. And here you go. So the islands that were just slammed. Oh, damn it. The islands that were just slammed. Sorry, that was my cat. She runs up and starts scratching my computer. Like, what the hell? Okay, so, once again, let's try this one more time. All the Caribbean islands and everything that was just slammed by Irma now have Jose rolling right up on their back door again. So I hope no rebuilding efforts have started anywhere yet, because now this is, a Cat 4 with the same path going right into those extremely warm waters. So there's a very good chance that it too could become a very, very, very dangerous Cat 5. Just like this. So Irma dropped to a Cat 4, but Irma is now going through all that warm water right in here between the Keys and Cuba and Puerto Rico. Hits all that 86 degree water and whatnot, and powers her right back up. Gives her all that strength right back. And then she builds up, gets her wind speeds going again, and those gusts. And everybody's reported all kinds of different gusts. I mean, it's been sustained winds of 175, 180 to wind gusts upwards of 2. So I keep covering this and keep saying these things because, guys, this does not seem good at all. You know what I mean? Like, this is absolutely unbelievable. I have never in my 30 years seen anything like this. I mean, I said it about Harvey. Just to roll up onto a coastal region and stop and sit there and just dump 50 plus inches of rain plus everything else. I've never seen that in my life. Never have I seen that. And then we have this. Harvey just hits, so then Irma's following right up, going to hit the Florida coast, and then Jose right behind her, just waiting to decimate. It's just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Never even heard of anything like it. So I'm sorry that I keep re-saying these things. I'm just stunned right now. I'm hoping I can get my OBS or my Bitstream to work properly, because I am going to try to live stream one of these webcams, because from this point on, the southern points of Florida, like in the Keys and whatnot, from this point on, we're going to start seeing the weather change very suddenly. It'll be a graceful change, but we're going to see it change from, the bright, sunny, hot days to being almost steady wind and steady rain. Oh, and that reminds me, not only is all of Florida basically under massive hurricane warnings by a hurricane that's literally the size of Florida, but they're also warning people of chances of all kinds of tornadoes due to the wind speed differences at ground level and then way up high in the top of the hurricane. So now they're saying that there's going to be tornadoes all up and down through southern and northern Florida. So anybody in Florida, we'll be praying for you. Be safe. I hope you guys have had the time to stock up and reinforce your property or your houses with whatever is possible, or as good as possible. I wish you guys all the best of luck. Anybody down here in these paths. Sorry it's turning out this way, but I've put my email in quite a few videos. I'll put it in this one. If you feel the need to send anything, feel free. I'll have my email in this description. Here, we're going to go ahead and get off of this small little screen here. This will be my, I'm using, what is it? Broadwave live cams? Yeah, Broadwave live cams. So, this will be a live stream down here in Florida Keys. I do believe that, yeah, this is the one that steadily changes back and forth between two or three different webcams. You guys see how my phone does that? Like, the image of the last screen stays in. It's so weird, I hate it. But yeah, so hopefully I will be able to use this and stream it. I'm not going to promise anybody anything because I don't want anybody disappointed. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to stream it, see what we can get. Also, one more thing I wanted to talk about. So, if anybody saw, I'm not sure, because usually I cover these things, and I haven't yet because I've been pretty behind on the video topics I like to cover on my channel here. Did you notice that SpaceX just launched their Falcon 9 rocket again from launch pad 39A down here in Cape Canaveral? Now, they launched the X-37B, which is what they're calling an orbital test plane. And basically, it's something, an unmanned space plane that orbits, and they're not really saying why. They said it's for testing, for orbital tests that they couldn't typically run. I think there's more to it, but then again, I probably always will. They're just being strange when they talk about it. They're not giving any, real reasons, it doesn't seem like. So could it possibly be something to do with weather manipulation? Because we all know SpaceX is not a private space agency, not at all. Okay, even Elon Musk, I do believe, has said or made comments kind of hinting towards that. So yeah, they're not private. But yeah, I guess we'll just see. Alright, y'all. Peace.